Hi, I'm Andrea. Thank you for joining me. Can you share a little bit about yourself? What's your name? Are you a student?
Hi, yeah, I'm Kay. I'm a student at the university and I'm originally from the UK.
Okay, perfect, Kate. Nice to meet you. So I'm just gonna ask you a little questions. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
So I would like to know, what does the concept of eco-conscious living mean to you personally?
I mean, to me, I guess it just surrounds the idea of living with the thought in your head of the environment around you, how you're going to better it, or how you're going to ensure that you're contributing to helping the environment. So whether it's like something personal like recycling, or if you work with a group or something, like any of those ideas is the same.
Yeah, totally. I agree. We all have a part in this eco-conscious living and sustainability. I'm curious, like, have you had a recent purchase where you chose an eco-friendly product or brand?
Yeah, I guess something that I got recently. I like to go hiking and outdoors a lot, so I was looking for a new clothes or a new hoodie or something just for the weather. And a lot of brands, they're very good for the outdoors, but they're not very good sustainability, or they don't have any, not concept, but they don't have any thought to the environment alongside it. So I bought one of the fleeces from Patagonia, and I think most of their things are made from recycled material. So, I mean, that was something that I thought of because it's something I buy to be in nature, so I want to give something back to nature, I guess. That's what influenced it.
Yeah, I think Patagonia is a really good example for a brand that follows these criteria. Okay, and since social media is a big thing in this digital world, I wanted to ask you, like, how do you engage with environmental causes through those type of platforms?
I guess that one of the main things I do, I don't really use Instagram or anything, so I don't see products specifically. But myself, I'm vegetarian anyway, and I follow a lot of social media platforms that kind of promote that kind of lifestyle. Also plant-based as a thing, trying to get more locally sourced produce, and, not shipping it in that causes other problems. And also, on the other hand, I follow a lot of pages or influencers that discuss the environment. So, like, giving me information rather than, like, advertising products. But yeah, if they're talking about how to be more eco-friendly, and just how to better help the environment, I guess I follow a couple of those, but it's more text-based and posts and that kind of thing.
Okay, so like more informational and educational, I get it. And are there any specific frustrations or challenges that you face when you're trying to purchase eco-friendly products or make sustainable choices?
Yeah, I guess there's quite a few, but I mean, the main one is when you're looking at a product, I think, especially with the climate we're in right now, there's a lot of problems with greenwashing. So just the fact that the companies will say that they're sustainable or offer products that are sustainable to the environment, but the actual methods they use to get to the finished product in the end, are not sustainable at all. Like it might be made out of recycled material, but the factories they're using or how they're making it just isn't at all. So I guess that's one main problem. And also, I guess that there's with fashion, there's a lot at the moment of emphasis on sustainable clothing. So sometimes brands will bring out a sustainable clothing line, so just like one line of clothes that's sustainable. But if the rest of your brand isn't supporting that and isn't making the whole company sustainable, then really it's not making so much difference, I think, personally.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And going hand in hand with the last question, like, what are the primary needs and expectations from this type of products or brands that you have? What are the factors that you take most into account when buying this?
Yeah, I mean, I guess because you're doing it for, like, positive reasons, so trying to help the environment, I still need a good quality thing I'm buying. For example, when I bought the jacket from Patagonia, I need to make sure that it actually works and that I'm not just buying something for the ethics behind it, but then it's non-functional. So I guess that's also very important to me. And another reason is that the expectation, I expect, sadly, it to be very expensive. But I hope that there's a way that they can come around that, because usually sustainable clothing is very overpriced compared to what you can buy in the normal market. Like, we know why. Is because they have to use different methods to get to the end point rather than just sourcing cheap labor and cheap materials. But it's still something as a student that you deal with. You know, sometimes you have to find a middle ground between the price and being sustainable. So I guess that's also something that I would like to see more.
Perfect. And during your decision-making process, what kind of information are you searching for, or what do you typically find in this information?
Yeah, I guess the main information I'm searching for, usually if I just searching generally for there's a product I'm interested in, I'll go and I'll find what materials it's made of, first of all, just to see if it is actually sustainable or if it's just their practices are sustainable. And I'll also find out more about the company, like how it started, who started it. Is this a recent decision, you know, because it's something that benefits them and will gain more traction for the company? Or is it something that they've always held a value for? And I'll just find this information online, to be honest. Like, if you just go on Google and you type in any brand that you're interested in, and you type in, you know, are they sustainable or something like that, you'll find information from the brand themselves, which low-key you can't always trust. So then you got to look elsewhere and see if there's websites that talk about the most sustainable companies and stuff like that. So if you go down them, you can always find something that's going to answer your questions, and you can find out if they are worth your money and your time, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, those are really good points that you're pointing out. But like, also since you mentioned you're an active person, have you ever considered participating in environmental projects?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I as I'm not like so much of a product person, I prefer to get involved in activism, and I think it's something I've always held to a value. One, because you see your work as it appears, rather than it just going to a corporation, and you don't know, the product might be sustainable, but you don't know that they do anything after that to try help. So I guess I've done that. I've participated in planting trees, like reforestation, in the rainforest. And I've also done local projects, like in my own city, where it's like cleaning up local forests and like just general parks and things like that, just cleaning it up with litter and this kind of thing. But that's pretty much it. But I do prefer it, yeah. And I guess it's quite easy to find out about as well. Usually government websites will talk about it, so you can always find it, or even online on social media. There's always someone needing help or some group wanting a volunteer, so it's always something good to get involved with, you know.
Yes, okay. So just to be clear, you prefer getting directly involved rather than like buying products from a company that say that they'll handle it. Like, you prefer like get your hands dirty, for example.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the best way. I think a combination of both is good, but if you're strapped for cash, for example, and or you're a student and you don't have money to buy sustainable things and support brands that you like and enjoy, it's a good way to go around the world. Like, work is always free. Like, you're always going to be able to help someone. You're always going to be able to help the environment, even in small ways. But that's the way you can make a change, you know, just creating small changes everywhere, and you see it.
True, you can always find a way in case that you don't have like the spare money to actually buy the product. And have you ever considered joining an eco-friendly charity, not just only like a project, but like a full-time charity?
I haven't considered it too much at the moment. My time is pretty limited to be able to carry out a big thing, and I have a lot of interests. So I guess being eco-friendly is something I'm interested in, but I haven't managed to spend my time on it yet. But I think it's something worthwhile to get involved with or work for.
Yes, and you sound like a really sustainably aware individual. Are you normally aware of your consumption every day, or do you take action to limit your waste?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's only something that I've actually started doing recently. In the past couple of years, I've grown more and more interested in the topic. But like I said, I'm vegetarian, so I try not to eat meat products. If I'm buying eggs or something, you know. I try buy it locally because then you're not paying for the cost of like
The package.
yeah, and it being shipped from the other side of the world. And also I recently was on a project where someone taught me about like a biodegradable and making your own food and plants and things. So I think that's also something that like if you grow your own and then you know you can deal with your own waste, it's a lot more helpful than buying things everywhere. And in terms of products, I also do that. Like I take my clothes to the charity when I'm done with them instead of just putting them in the bin or give them to my friends. And I also buy a lot of my clothes from the charity shop. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's also an easy way to contribute when you don't have so much money or time to be able to donate to these causes.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you partake a lot of interest in helping your community, even in small ways. I think it does make an impact at the end. Like small changes actually sum up the actual change. And Kay, I wanted to ask you, are you familiar with the 4Ocean organization?
Yeah, I've seen I've seen some of the posts and advertisements for the little bracelets on Instagram. So I have seen them before, and that they do work to clean the ocean, and then I think they recycle it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, totally. They donate they pull out 5 pounds of waste from the ocean for every bracelet that people buy. I want to ask you, would you ever buy a bracelet or a product from them? Because they not only, their most selling products are bracelets, but they also carry like hoodies, sweatshirts, water bottles, and things like that. And if you do, why or why not?
Yeah, I guess it's something I would be interested in. I've seen that stuff before, and it's quite cute. Personally, I'm not really a bracelet kind of gal, but I would always get a hoodie or something like that, because also I think that there's a double side to it. Like, you're giving money to the company, they're doing good, and you're also basically giving them free advertisement. So, you know, if you see someone and they have the brand and they look up the brand and they're interested in, you know, being eco-friendly, I guess it's also something that you could get other people interested in, or your friends ask you about the product. So I think it's quite good for two reasons for that, you know.
Yeah, totally. You're like actually carrying the cause within you, like when you wear the product out. It also reflects, well, your value or initiative towards this. Also, I wanted to ask you, since you seem like a very knowledgeable person, do you think these charities such as 4Ocean are enough to save the planet from its current situation? Or should politicians or consumers engage as much as they do?
Yeah, I mean, sadly, I don't think that it's actually enough to save the planet. I think we're too far past that point. But I think you can work in the best way you can, you know? Like I said, to work on local projects, to work on things such as this, you can see every day the changes. And hopefully you can try, if you're pairing that alongside buying other sustainable products, you know, making petitions, politicians, and, you know, it's not the biggest thing on their minds. They have so many problems and they ignore a lot of calls. So I think things like this are a great cause, you know, people to people. Like, it's one of the best ways to go forward and actually make a change that you can see. And hopefully the more people do it, the more people get interested, you know?
Yeah, it's true. And would you be interested in seeing like 4Ocean take action in any other thing, like out of, normally right now they focus on the ocean and getting it to be like a plastic free ocean, but would you like to see like different projects, expansions to land or things like that? As you said, you planted trees before. Do you think they should expand?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. If it's something they're looking at, I think is you know, it's always a good thing. You're always going to find people interested in it. And, I mean, if they have enough people to support that, then I think it's definitely something good to do. I know they might have to change the name, but aside from that, true. Yeah.
And, yeah, thank you. And you, as a consumer, are you willing to pay more for an eco-friendly product, or is it like a deal breaker? In this case, paying a higher price for a product such as 4Ocean. bracelets or hoodies or like that?
Yeah, I guess for me it's fine. Like I said, most of the time I just shop at the secondhand store, so naturally that's very cheap anyway. So it means that I'm willing and I have the capacity to buy like some very sustainable, ethical products, such as that. So I guess yeah, it's just a half and half. And I mean, if you're not a student and you've got money, I think it's fine price. Like you're gonna pay the same in the high street for something similar, but completely non-ethical. So yeah, I mean, it's fine for me.
Perfect. I think yeah, it's you have to you have to sacrifice some things right now in order to get like ethically produced things, which I hope in the future will get better in that. Actually, speaking of the future, how do you see the planet in 15 years from now? Do you think our situation will get better? Do you think it will get worse? There's a lot of charities right now trying to make a change, but this has been going for a while, and it has only, in my opinion, got worse. But what do you think? Businesses or consumers, do you think we have a chance in repairing the planet?
I mean, I think honestly, no. But I still think that you have to give it a go. Like, you have to have some belief that we can bring it back, we can turn it around. Like, scientifically is another question, but in terms of doing the most that we can right now, I mean, brands like this they're doing it, you know? They're trying to make an actual change in the little time that we have. So I think it will be worse, but I mean, if people keep making these motives, then I guess, you know, we might have a chance. We can wait and see, hopefully.
Yes, hopefully. I think we can turn it around. As you said, I think there's some irreparable damage, but we might as well try. We cannot stay there forever. And finally, do you think that it's fair that 4Ocean asks to pay for products to finance their actions? Or do you think that they should hire volunteers for the job?
Yeah, I think that I think both actually. I think that it's fine that they ask for a payment because I guess it means that there's more of a chance that it's going to continue going. They'll ensure that they get funding to be able to do the work they can do. But at the same time, if there's people willing to volunteer, like it's something I would be interested in personally, I think then why not stand for both? You know, you can the more people, the more change you're going to make anyway. So if they have some people that have maybe certain skills that they pay to do their jobs, but other people that are just want to help out the cause, then it's fine. But I think that doesn't mean that they necessarily need to stop charging for their products because all the money is going back into
The cause.
the cause. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually agree that they should hire more volunteers, but I also think it's pretty great that they, with the money that comes from the bracelets, they hire full-time people like captains that go in the lookout for waste in the ocean, and they're actually local, so they know the place, and also they're like opening and generating jobs in their in like Indonesia, Guatemala, and I think that's also like helping not only the environment but the communities that live in the surroundings. So, do you have any opinion on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's this is exactly what I was saying. When you're looking for a product, it's things like that you want to hear, that they're not just selling a product to make money or pretending it's ethical, you know, to be whatever. They're just, you know, they're giving opportunities back to the people where they're working, you know. They care about the local wildlife, the local people. And I think that's all you can really ask from a charity like that, you know.
Yes, totally. And do you think that enough people would like to volunteer for this association, and why or why not?
Yeah, I mean, I think they would. I think it's always a good project to work on. I think people are interested in cleaning up the world, and I guess the ocean is somewhere quite interesting. So if you had, you know, a volunteer job, I think this is one that's quite rewarding. You can see your work, you can see the product, you're connecting with local people. I mean, I think it's quite a good incentive to be involved in it as a charity or a company, I guess. So yeah.
So you would say that you value instant gratification on your actions, like sustainably wise?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the importance of what they're doing is that you can see what you're making straight away, which automatically gives people, like some sense of achievement. So it's a lot easier to motivate yourself and to like keep going, because you can see what you're doing and you can see how your work is actually helping. You're picking up the plastic and you see the product being made. You see you're helping the community. So you see all these things, and as it's a actual product that people want to buy, I think it's quite sustainable in the sense of longevity. Like the company, it's not going to run into some ground where if they don't get funding from outside, from the government, or just from donations from people, they're providing a product or like a service, if you want to call it that. So it means that because they're providing something, they've got a bigger chance of continuing. And I think that's the important thing, A lot of the time, these charities that are eco-friendly, they don't last very long because the support either runs out or people have other priorities that take on more importance or more urgency, I guess. Whereas I think like this it's a product, so it's always going to be sold. Like there's nothing. They can always chop and change how they sell the product, or the design or this kind of thing, so that it's still appealing to everyone. But yeah, if it's a long-term solution, then I think it's a really good thing.
Thank you. And to wrap this up, the company shares a statement that in every product you buy, they actually pull out 5 pounds of waste from the ocean. This is particularly specific. Do you like this statement, or would you like to see actual proof of it, as in pictures, or the videos they provide are sufficient to you as a customer to not feel skeptical? Feel free to share your valid and honest opinion. Everything is good here.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me it's fine. Mission statements are always going to be something that's a generalization, I guess. And like, it's not like they have to provide proof for it. But I guess a way that they could, ensure that it's still meaningful for you is like giving you updates on how it's going, how much trash they've thrown away at the end of, I don't know, the month, if they emailed you about the product. So I guess things like that can always ensure it. But I think, as a statement, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, personally.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. Your contribution is really important for our research. And, well, have a good day.
You too.